Hey there, Nancy. I heard that you were trying to get pregnant. Are you really going to try and have your kid before the year's over? Sorry, you heard what now? I'm just saying that if you wanted to have your kid before the year is up, you should start getting busy now, don't you think? Or are you pregnant right now? Don't tell me that you're already pregnant. No, I'm not currently pregnant. Why are you even asking me about this all of a sudden? Well, it's just that my daughter Hillary is pregnant right now, and she was saying that she wanted to come back home to give birth. Oh, I see. I didn't know that Hillary was pregnant. That's amazing news. And I told her that of course I'd be so happy if she came back here to have her baby, but I just wanted to check with you that that would be okay since you're living in our home too. So I just wanted to make sure that you weren't pregnant, because if you and Hillary were both pregnant, that would just be too much. Oh, I see. Well, I really appreciate you thinking about me and asking me about this. Of course, thank you for answering my questions so clearly. Of course, I didn't actually think that you were pregnant right now or anything. So maybe there wasn't even any point in asking. I mean, after all, you've been married to my son for 5 years and you still haven't had a kid. I already assumed that you just have no intention of giving me a grandchild. Honestly, I doubt if you could even get pregnant. So sorry for wasting both of our time even bringing this up with you. I guess it was silly of me. Hold on a second, Nancy. I really don't think that there was any need to talk to me like this. I mean, you know that Owen and I want a child, right? Well, if you want, I could have Hillary share with you some tips on how to make sure you can get pregnant. Of course, given your age, I really don't know how well they would actually work for you, so maybe there would be no point in asking that of Hillary either. Nancy, I really don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm barely even into my 30s. Oh, well, in that case, I'll call Hillary right now and tell her to reach out to you with an idea on what might work. I know that she'll be more than happy to help you get pregnant just like her, and then you can finally give me the grandchild that I've been waiting so long for. Hey there, Paula. I just wanted to say thank you so much for letting me stay with you all while I'm pregnant. It really is a huge help, and I'm so grateful to you for giving my mom the thumbs up. This is my first time being pregnant, so I'm just so nervous that something might go wrong, you know? Yeah, I can't imagine what you must be feeling. Please let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. I mean, I have work, of course, but if I can help, I don't mind at all. Oh, thank you so much. Actually, since you're offering, there is one thing that I'd like to ask you. Would you mind getting all the things I'll need for a baby ready for me? Sorry, all of the things? What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, I mean like the carriage and the bed and some clothes. Make sure you get good sheets, but nothing that might irritate a baby's skin, okay? And make sure you go and get lots of baby food as well, and I'll probably have cravings, so make sure to buy me some sweets while you're out, okay? Now, wait just a second there, Hillary. You're asking me to buy all of those things for you? I'm sorry, but you can't get some of those things by yourself? Well, sure I could, but I'm going all the way to my mom's to stay, so it would just be better if all those things were already there when I arrived, you see? Well, I guess that does make some sense, yeah. But I'm just worried I'll end up getting things you don't like. Are you sure you wouldn't want to do all this shopping with me once you're here? I could even just lend you my car if you wanted to handle it on your own. No, we don't have to go and do all that. I mean, what's wrong with you getting all of that for me? I'm sure you can just ask the staff and they'll recommend you good things to get. I see. Well, I guess I can do that. Would you mind telling me your budget so that I don't go over what you can afford? And are you going to write me a check, or were you going to just wire the money on an app? Hold on a second. You mean that you're not going to buy all of those things for me? What's the matter with you? I thought you would have gotten all that as a gift for me. I mean, I'm pregnant, for crying out loud. Think of it as a gift for me for having a child. Well, I was thinking of getting you a couple of things, but I don't know if I can afford to get all that a baby would need. So you're saying that you really can't spare any money at all for my baby that's on the way? I would have thought you'd have plenty saved up. After all, you've been married to my brother this long, and you still don't have a kid. And since you've been living at my parents' house, it's not like either of you have been paying rent or anything like that either. Surely you can spare a couple grand to help me get things ready for my baby, right? You want a couple grand, as in thousands of dollars? It's not like I'm asking for $1 million or anything, but anyways, I'll go ahead and send you a list once I have one written up. Thank you so much for doing this. You really are saving me so much trouble. I really appreciate it. Hey, Owen, did you know that your sister is going to be coming to stay with us until she gives birth? Because I was just told about it by your mom and her, and I haven't heard anything from you.
Of course I knew this was going to be happening. Isn't it exciting? We're going to be an aunt and uncle to my sister's new baby. This is so great.
I really don't think that you should be treating this whole thing so lightly, Owen. I mean, did you know that your sister is expecting me to buy all of the things she needs for when her baby comes? Do you have any idea how much that's going to cost? Because your sister said that I owed it to her as a gift.
Well, yeah, of course. What's wrong with that? It's only natural that we give my sister a wedding gift. What's your problem?
Sure, I'd be down to buy her a few things for her baby, but did you read my message? She told me that she expected me to buy all of it. She sent me the list of what she wants, and it's huge. By the time I get all of this, I'll have probably spent something like $3,000.
Hold on, everything my sister wants from you is going to cost that much money? Well, whatever, I said that we'd give it to her.
Oh, and you can't be serious about that.
I'm sorry, Nancy, but we've been married this long and still haven't had kids, even though I know my parents really want grandchildren. And honestly, it's something that I feel like a failure about as their oldest child, so it really is the least we can do, don't you think?
You're really trying to make up for not having kids with me by spending $3,000 on your sister? If you really want to pay that much money, then you can pay for it all with your own money.
Oh, come on, don't be ridiculous. You know that I couldn't afford something like that with just my salary. Besides, my sister sent you the list, so you have to pitch in.
I am more than happy to buy a few things on this list, but I am not going to be splitting it and paying $1,500.
Well, if you're too cheap and don't want to spend money on family, then you should have gotten pregnant by now, and then we wouldn't have to do this. So if you're looking for someone to blame this on, how about you start with yourself?
Oh my gosh, you are being ridiculous. Do you know that? Why are you acting this way?
Because I'm the eldest child, and I always thought that I'd be giving my parents their first grandchild. Do you have any idea how embarrassing it is for me now that Hillary is pregnant? I even heard that my mom asked my sister to give you advice on how to get pregnant. I think that one hurt me the most. Don't you see how much I've been through already because of this? And you're still gonna try and make me pay for this.
Oh, and I understand that living with your parents might make you feel a bit more pressure than if we weren't. But you hardly even contribute anything around here. We haven't even slept in the same room for the past year, and I don't see things improving for us.
Oh, just shut up. You don't understand what I'm going through. Why don't you just be a good wife? Buy my sister what she wants. And until you have a kid of your own, stop complaining about the things that we should be doing for family.
I can't believe that you actually said that. What is the matter with you?
I'm just saying that since you don't have a kid, I'm free to leave you whenever I want. Never forget that. If you do have a problem with that, then we can just go ahead and get divorced. So there. It's your fault I feel this way, so it's up to you to buy what my sister wants.
Paula, what the heck is going on here? Why do I have to sleep in the cramped little bedroom right next to the living room? Did you really think that I came all the way back home just to be cramped into a tiny closet like that? Well, Hillary, I really am sorry. We tried to make as much room for you as possible, and that's what we were able to do. I really can't believe this. You really expect me to be able to sleep in some cramped little bedroom full of baby goods? I come all the way back here to do the honor of giving my parents their first grandchild, and you're treating me as if I were the help. How do you expect me to live like this? What about my room? This is my family's house, and I want to stay in my room. But Hillary, you know that I've been in your room ever since you moved out and I moved in, right? Of course I know that. What's your point? You should have offered me your room when I arrived here. I'll take my room back and you have that broom closet. That should set everything about right. I'm really sorry, Hillary, but I work from home half the time and I need the larger room because it doubles as my office. I don't have anywhere else to put my work stuff and I don't feel like renting out office space. Well, then why don't you just go into your office and work there then, huh? Or go and set up at a cafe or something. Heck, you can go work in the shed for all I care. You really expect me to do my work out in the shed? Well, at least if you were completely out of the house, I could turn the broom closet room into a baby feeding room and still have my room to stay in. Hold on a second, so I wouldn't just be working in the shed, I'd also be sleeping there? Do I understand that right? Well, of course you'd be sleeping there. How else would I get 2 rooms if you were still using one of them? Anyways, my mom and brother all agree that this is a good idea. So from now on, you'll be sleeping in the shed. Got it? You mean that you're with your brother and mom right now? I thought that they were both supposed to be at work. Well, they both took the day off to come and pick me up from the airport. Besides, my mom told me that she quit her job. She said that she wanted to be able to help me any time of the day that I needed it. And Owen told me that he took a bunch of days off just for me. After all, there's still going to be plenty to do around the house. And if it's just going to be us women, I'd feel much better with a man in the house. Well, neither of them told me any of these plans to take work off. I mean, they didn't even take the day off to help me celebrate my birthday last year. Well, that's probably just because they care a lot more about me than they do about you. Haven't you figured that out yet? But even though they're going to be here to help, I am still going to rely on you for most of what I need. And just why would you even do that when you have 2 people staying at home specifically for you? Well, because it was always my plan to have you take care of me while I was here. Like, if the baby wakes up in the night or needs its diaper changed, that was going to be all you. And then once you're done with all that, you can go back out to the shed and go back to bed. Get it? That sounds like a horrible life. Why would I agree to that? So not only am I being cast out in the shed, but I'm also going to be in charge of taking care of your every whim? That's right. Don't tell me that you have a problem with that, because you don't even have children, so you really don't have room to argue. You know what? I'm just going to go and stay with my parents for a while. Good idea. Go do that and never ever come back. It's not like you ever did anything good for my family anyways. After all, you never even had a kid. But man, you should see how upset my mom and brother are right now. They are seriously just pissed. They never ever want to see you again. So go home. We don't care. You can just send us money from over there and we won't have to put up with you. You think I'm going to send you money? No. If I leave like this, then I'm asking Owen for a divorce. Hold on a second. You're not serious about that, are you? You're really going to divorce my brother all because you couldn't have kids? You realize that at your age, nobody is ever going to want to marry you, right? You realize the mistake you'll be making if you do this. The only mistake I'll be making is staying with the family that's about to make me sleep outside in a shed. I would much rather just divorce Owen and go back to living with my parents until I find a new home. And by the way, I will be taking everything that's mine from the house when I leave. What are you talking about? What of the house is yours? You're crazy. Do you know that? Paula, what the heck is the matter with you? Where is the fridge, the TV, the stove? Why is it all gone? You bring those back right now. I can't believe that you stole all this stuff from us. I thought you meant you were going to be taking your clothes and stuff, not the appliances. I told you yesterday, didn't I? I said that I was going to be taking back all the stuff that I had bought for the house. But I thought you meant small things like some glasses or decorations or something like that. Why did you take the fridge? Well, that's because your brother kept bugging me about your mom needing a new fridge. When we finally went to go and buy one, he made me pay for it, so I guess maybe I had some other uses aside from baby making. You mean that you bought my mom's fridge? That's right, and now I'm going to be taking that and everything else that I bought back with me. Hold on a minute, though. You can't do that. I mean, you're taking essential appliances here. How are we supposed to live? Don't you know that I'm about to have a baby? Where am I supposed to put my milk? I don't know why you're asking me. I've divorced your brother, so you and I have nothing to do with one another. Why would you even ask me what to do about your baby? After all, I've never been pregnant. I've never had a baby. I wouldn't know. Oh, come on. You know exactly what you're doing, don't you? You really think that you can just walk out of my house with all our appliances? Don't you understand that you're just going to end up hurting an innocent baby? Do you really not care what happens to it at all? You're a monster. Well, it's a bit late to ask me to take things back. I've already sold most of the things I took from the house online. And if you need baby things, then maybe you should go out and buy them yourself. Or ask your mom or brother to buy you the things that you need. Otherwise, things might get kind of tricky for you. What do you mean by that? Well, I mean that if your mom really did quit her job and Owen is still on the verge of being fired like he has been, then I really don't actually see how they'd be able to help you since they're not going to have income soon. But if Owen gets fired, then I really won't have any way to take care of this baby. What am I going to do? I don't know, but I'm just letting you know that after I dropped off the divorce papers, I was told I'd have to fill out another form for Owen's work. So I called the office to ask about it, and the woman on the phone was shocked because she thought I was about to have your baby. Apparently, Owen had told his boss that I, his now ex-wife, was pregnant, not you. And so he took off work using paternity leave. Well, I ended up explaining that to his manager, and she was also just shocked. So basically, your brother lied to his work about his life so that he could take this time off for you. But I had no idea that he had gone and done any of that. Well, anyways, that's probably why he'll actually be getting fired. He had gotten in trouble for doing similar things like this before. But he's never actually lied about something this big or asked for this much time off. And when I told his manager that not only was I not pregnant, but I was also being exiled to sleep in the shed and live like a servant, well, I think that really clinched it. You're kidding me. You mean to tell me that you told his bosses everything that was going on here? Well, they kept asking me questions about Owen. To be honest, it sounded like they already had their own suspicions of him. So I was more than happy to help them clear up anything that wasn't adding up for them. You traitor! How could you do this to us? Well, you know, the funny thing was that in the end, there actually wasn't any paperwork that I did have to give them. It was all just a clerical error that sent me to them. I don't believe you. You had to know what you were doing. This is your way of getting back at us, isn't it? You know that by calling them, you could have a chance to tell them about the divorce. I am sure that I have no idea what you're talking about. After all, this is my first time getting divorced, and I just wanted to make sure that I did everything right. You have no idea all the paperwork that I've had to do alongside the ones for the divorce. It was never my plan to rat out Owen for his truancy. But anyways, that's just about all I had to say to you. It sounds to me like you have lots to talk about on your end as well. But I hope the pregnancy goes well. Tell Owen good luck with his job hunt. He'll need it. And so, as repo men went in and out of Nancy's house, clearing out anything that I had saved receipts for, Owen got the call from his manager telling him that he was being fired for lying about his paternity leave. He was also going to be charged for the pay he had received while off. As appliances and other things went missing, Owen and them all realized how much it was going to cost to replace them, buy things for the baby, and make ends meet for the three of them. First, all three of them had to sell all their luxury goods online to try and earn some quick pocket money. After that, Owen had to go out and find a job. But no one was going to hire him since he couldn't explain why he had been let go from his last position. I heard that even after Hillary had her baby, her marriage didn't last long afterwards, and she ended up staying with Owen and their mother. That was the last piece of gossip I had heard through the pipeline. I really do feel sorry for Hillary's baby, but at this point, I can only hope that this serves to teach those three a lesson that they'll carry with them in the future.
Hey, Grace, are you there? I heard that your date last night didn't go well, did it? What is this now, the 10th guy that you've gone through? You're already 36 years old and you've never ever been in a serious relationship? Don't you think that's just a bit pathetic?
Excuse me?
And just what is pathetic about wanting to take my time and make sure that I found the right person, huh?
I just mean that if you wait too long or act too picky, that no one is ever going to want to marry you. You really should just lower your standards and get married already. It would make things so much easier for you. Because you know that as you get older, it's going to get harder and harder to get people to think you're attractive.
I don't really care what other people think of me. Besides, I'm in no huge rush to try and get married right away. Besides, the person that I would want to marry wouldn't care about my age or how I look. In fact, it's been Mom this whole time who's been setting up these blind dates for me, but I never even asked her to.
Well, if Mom didn't do it for you, then who would? Although you'd probably rather date one of those dumb men from the romance novels that you read. You're such a loser. Do you know that? When are you going to get real? You realize that the written word isn't any kind of substitution for a real flesh and blood husband, right?
Literally, what are you even talking about right now?
Oh, please. I already know all about it from Mom. She tells me that you spend so much of your free time with your nose buried in a bunch of romance books. But you're almost 40 years old. It's time for you to put the books down and try experiencing life for once. If you don't do that, then people might start to think that you're some kind of creep or something. Don't you want to be happily married?
I am sorry, but Mom has no right to judge me for wanting to read books when all she does is watch TV all day. As for getting married, when the right person comes along, I'll know, and then we'll marry.
You really think that the perfect man is just going to walk right up to you, get on one knee, and propose to you right then and there? No, I know that you really have been reading too many of those romance novels. But do you really actually believe that at your age? I mean, do you think that's how dating works in the real world? Especially at your age?
And just what is that supposed to mean, huh? How stupid do you really think I am?
I don't think you're stupid. More just in denial and jealous of how much more successful my love life has been. After all, while I was getting married at 20, you were still lying to us about that made-up boyfriend that you had, remember? Now that was a new low for you. But it also was just so funny how pathetic it was.
It wasn't a made-up boyfriend, Sally. He was real.
Yeah, sure. It wasn't just someone that you came up with because I was getting married that year. And how could you not be jealous when my husband is so handsome and sweet and makes a ton of money on top of that? I mean, I'm sure you've seen my vlogging about just how amazing our lives together are. You are seeing all my posts about my life, aren't you?
No, actually, I haven't really checked out all your social media pages at all.
Wait, what? What do you mean? You have to go and look! I post something just about every single day! Like the other day, I was posting all about the new Porsche that my husband bought, and I included this in the caption, so you would know if you were following me. But it cost around $1 million.
Wow, your husband really bought a Porsche? I guess he must be doing really well at work then, huh?
Well, I can't really say that I'm all surprised, given I know just how brilliant he really is. Maybe it's time you admit that you have a couple of things that you would learn from me about how to find a husband. After all, we're only young in our lives once, and once it's gone, that's it. So maybe you should put just a little bit more work into finding a husband while you still have your youth. If you don't, then I can guarantee you now that you're going to end up old and lonely.
Well, thank you so much for all your well-meant concerns about me, Sally. But I want you to know that even when I am old, I would still rather be old and have stuck to my principles than unhappily married for several decades.
Oh, sorry. I should have been more clear. I'm not really worried about you at all. I'm really only concerned for Mom and Dad's sake. I mean, don't you feel bad for the two of them? Obviously, they thought you were going to be the first to move out, but you're still living with them. Don't you know how badly they want you out of the house already? You're nothing but a leech to them.
Are you seriously saying that I'm just leeching off of Mom and Dad? You really have no idea what you're talking about, do you?
Well, am I lying? If you think that I am, why don't you go and talk to Mom about this? Because she told me that she is sick and tired of having you at home. Both of our parents see it clear as day, the scam that you're trying to run on them. They call and text me every day just talking about how much they'd wish you'd just leave them alone already.
Is this supposed to be some kind of cruel joke or something like that? You really think that I'm going to believe a word that you're saying?
But everything I'm saying is true. All you do is use up Mom and Dad's money. And then you have the gall to try and tell me I'm wrong when you can't even take care of yourself. You know, Mom was actually crying to me over the phone the other day. She told me that thanks to you, she doesn't even have any money to buy clothes for herself.
Oh, come on, that is just ridiculous.
It's totally true that you just take all of Mom and Dad's money and just use it on yourself, right? And meanwhile, you make Mom and Dad take care of the house and do all of the cleaning while you go out partying all night. Although I can't imagine what it actually is that you're doing since you don't even have a boyfriend.
You have got some serious nerve talking to me like this, do you know that? And has Mom really said all of these things to you? Because I don't know if I believe that.
Well, I don't care what you believe because I already know that you're just awful. You do nothing to help out our parents while you live in their house and use them for their money. You're going to leave them penniless and make sure that every last cent of their savings has somehow been spent on you. You're the one that has some serious nerve treating your own family that way. Do you know that? Because you're nothing but a pathetic old maid who nobody is ever going to love. That's why you have to take out your frustrations on Mom and Dad, isn't it?
I can't believe that you are actually sending me messages like that. You are taking this way too far right now.
I can't believe that you still won't own up to the truth. Maybe this is why you can never find someone to date you. You just refuse to acknowledge any kind of truth.
Mom, are you there? I think you and I need to have a little chat right now. Do you really think of me as some kind of leech on you and Dad? Because I think we both know that that is just a bit ridiculous.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Where is this coming from all of a sudden?
I am talking about all the things that I just heard from Sally. She told me all about the conversations you two have about me behind my back. Do you really think that I'm just after yours and Dad's money? And that I forced you two to take care of the house while I go out all the time? Because I think we both know that I have never done that even once.
Grace, dear, what on earth are you talking about? You're always the one who is taking care of the house, and I've never said anything to the contrary. I think that your sister is just jealous of living so far away from us, so she's resorted to making up horrible lies about you.
Because I just want to make it clear now that the only financial role I play for you and Dad is helping Dad pay down his credit card debt. I have been working so hard for a year to try and repair his credit score and lessen the debt that he has. That's the only way that I control your money.
I know. And you have to know how grateful your father and I are for that. It's been such a relief seeing some actual money go into our savings account for once. We had been living in the red for so long before then.
I know, and there was no way that your retirement money was going to be enough for the kind of help that you two needed. That's why I've been helping you guys by giving you money every month. It was so that you could focus on paying down your debt.
Of course we all know that's true. In fact, the only reason why your father and I can't spend money how we used to is because you're insisting that we save so much.
Well, so then why did Sally think that I was putting all of the housework on you and Dad? Because I thought we agreed that if I paid for all of the utilities at home, that you and Dad said you would handle the housework. You told me that you would agree to doing it if I paid you $1,500 a month, remember?
I know, but I thought I told you that we need to raise that up to $3,000 a month or else it just wasn't going to cut it. But you told me, remember? You said that you know $1,500 would be enough for me. So, basically, you denied your mom more money and still expect her to take care of the house. I don't think I'm being unfair in describing that if you basically forcing your dad to clean the house for peanuts.
I'm sorry, but I just don't see why you would need that much money given that I'm already paying for so much around here.
Because I have expenses that I need to cover as well, okay? And I don't need you making a big deal about the price. Did you know that last month I went through all the money you gave me just on food alone?
You only spent it all on food because you and Dad used it to treat yourselves to eating out all the time. And when you would cook at home, you went to the most expensive grocery stores for your ingredients. I'm sorry, but if you don't know how to spend your money wisely, that isn't my fault. You and Dad need to realize that the family business is not bringing in the money that it used to, and you two need to learn how to save for your futures.
But it isn't fair! I hate that cheap supermarket near our house. It's clear that everyone who shops there is so poor, and I stick out like a sore thumb.
Well, it's either learn how to spend your money wisely or go into debt again, okay? You do realize that when I get married, I'm going to move out of the house, and that means I'm going to be paying for a lot less. So that's why I'm trying to help you and Dad get your finances in order before that happens. Can't you see that it's for the good of you two that I'm doing this?
Oh, really? You have got some nerve pretending like you're doing this all from the good of your heart. And just what is this talk about you getting married when you don't even have a boyfriend? I wish that you would get married just so that you could finally leave us alone.
You don't really mean that, do you? Is that really what you want to happen?
It doesn't matter since you don't even have a man who could ask you to marry him. Although it isn't like I haven't tried setting you up with countless good-looking young men. Do you have any idea how hard it was to arrange some of those dates for you? If anything, I should be getting more money from you just for doing that service. Besides, at least if you did get married to someone, then between your two incomes, you could easily afford to give me $3,000 a month.
I really don't know what to say to that. Here I was thinking that you were just concerned about me. But now you come out and say that this whole thing was just a way for you to try and get more money from me?
Of course this is about the money. You've been living at home with your father and I for far too long now. Why else do you think I've been trying so hard to find someone you can marry? I want you to get out there, marry some rich guy, and make sure that your dad and I get a kickback.
Mom, I don't even want to have this conversation with you anymore. I'm going to marry someone for love, and that's it. And when I do marry, you and Dad aren't going to see another penny from me. Do you understand? Now I need to go and calm down and think about things. Sally, are you there? Please, you need to get back to me right away. Have you been in contact with Mom and Dad lately? I just got back from work and neither of them are home. Do you have any idea where they might be? Even all their things are gone. The house is practically empty. Do you have any idea what might be going on here?
Oh, I think I have a very good idea. After all, Mom and Dad are sitting right here next to me. And they are both just so happy about how much they were able to sell the house for. So, the three of us are all together to celebrate a job well done on our part.
Wait a second, what do you mean they sold the house? I don't understand.
Well, the house is empty. You said so yourself, right? And the reason is because Mom and Dad decided to sell the house and the land it was on. Which means that you might want to start packing up your bags and getting ready to leave too. Because you certainly won't be able to stay there much longer.
Wait a second, are you serious? Did Mom and Dad seriously try and sell that house? When did this happen? Why wasn't I told about this at all until now? I mean, I can't just come home to the news that the house is gone. That isn't fair.
Aw, yeah. I guess this means that you'll have to find another place to live right away, huh? Sucks for you, ha ha ha. But then again, this is what you get for being such a little leech on Mom and Dad until now. You don't deserve to stay with them. So I say that this is what you get.
You still really think that I've been leeching off Mom and Dad this whole time?
I don't think, I know. I know that you're almost 40 and you're still expecting your Mom and Dad to take care of you. Well, I'm glad that Mom and Dad finally wised up to what you were doing to them. I talked to Mom and she told me that she would much rather live with us rather than you. That's why we kept this a secret from you. But now the house is sold and there's nothing you can do about it.
So then Mom and Dad are going to be moving in with you and your family instead?
That's right. And you're going to be left out in the cold with no one to take care of you anymore. Mom and Dad knew this was the only way to get you to stand on your own 2 feet and finally find yourself a man.
I don't believe it. I never would have guessed in a million years that Mom and Dad would have done this to me. And I'm even surprised about your husband. You two haven't even been married that long, but he's going along with this?
He was more than happy to let Mom and Dad come and live with us, actually. Now, I'm going to take care of Mom and Dad and make sure I get all the inheritance.
What inheritance are you talking about? There is nothing left if they sold the house. After all, Dad's business is more of a liability than an asset right now.
Well, I'll still get the money that they got from the house. Besides, I would be more concerned about finding out where you're going to live.
Oh, I'm not worried about that at all. If Mom and Dad sold their house, I'll just go and live with my boyfriend.
Is that your way of saying you're going to try and make a little hut for yourself out of all your romance novels? Too bad the men from those books aren't real. No one's going to come and save you now.
No, I meant I'll just go and live with my flesh and blood boyfriend. But anyways, enjoy ruining your marriage by living with Mom and Dad. Hope that goes well for you. After all, if you're taking care of them, that just means that it'll be up to you to help with their debt now.
Their debt? What do you mean by that? I thought Dad was able to sell his company for a ton of money.
I don't know where you got that information from, but Dad did not sell his company. In fact, it's on the brink of bankruptcy, actually. Mom and Dad were both going into so much debt just to keep the business afloat.
No, that can't be right. I mean, Mom told me that it was a huge sale. She told me that her and Dad were going to be set for life.
I see. So it was Mom who gave you the bad information. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I'm only telling you the truth. In fact, this has been a problem with them for a while. They both just never could wrap their heads around making less money. And their spending habits only worsened because of that. They ended up in a cycle of taking out new loans to pay back their old ones.
I don't believe this. Why didn't I know any of this? This is crazy.
Well, one of the reasons why I stayed with Mom and Dad so long was because I was helping them restructure their finances. If anything, I'm just glad that it's not my problem anymore.
But then, if all they really have is debt, that means that I'm not going to get any money from them at all.
Yeah, but at least you have your Porsche-buying husband to help you out with that. Don't worry, I'm sure that all of you will be able to figure this out and get along with each other, right? In the end, Sally did end up sticking to her word and let Mom and Dad move in with her and her husband. A part of me hoped that living together would have pushed them towards humility, but instead it just brought out the worst in them. Now it wasn't just Sally, but even my mom who was posting pictures of social media of her showing off the fancy house, car, and everything else that Sally and her husband owned. But it wasn't long before commenters on their posts were accusing them of leading a fake rich lifestyle that was all just for show. This all came to light when it was discovered that between all of them, they had well over $100,000 in debt. The last I heard, Sally's home was being repossessed and they all had to move into a cramped apartment together so they could all focus on their debt. Of course, how well that's going in practice is a whole nother question.